Excited to be into game week finally, and off of the off week. I thought we got some extra work done last week in preparing for this big game, as did Tech. But, of course, into game week now, really excited about the challenge of it. It is a big challenge. Tech, everyone knows, is an excellent football team. Mike and his staff have done a fabulous job in all parts of the game, not just, of course, their offense gets a ton of recognition and should, but their defense is really playing well and got, a lot of good players really across the board in all parts of the game. So, again, just a challenge for us here at home to come out, be at our best, and I think as a whole team, we're all, of course, you have to be excited to be in this environment and to have this challenge in front of you. So we just got to prepare through the week to hopefully be at our best come Saturday night.
Why don't you vote on Coach anymore?
I've already been through that. Got my reasons, and to talk about them right now isn't going to do any good. It's going to take away from the game.
Bob, the kicking game you had during the week off, did you have some guys try off?
No.
The same guys going to kick and everything?
Yeah. Same guys, just hopefully they'll be better.
Coach, can a crowd have an effect on the visiting team?
You would hope. That's something that you would hope would happen, and that's something hopefully our crowd will take an active interest in this game. They're a no-huddle team, do a lot of communicating at the line of scrimmage, and the louder you are and more difficult you make it, it can influence the game. And I really do hope our people will take an interest in not just cheering when we're going into the end zone, but actively cheering and making noise when they're trying to communicate and get something going, and to hopefully take away from maybe something that they're doing. It definitely helps, and hopefully we'll have that come Saturday.
Why do you think your team has been so dominant playing on this field in the 10 years you've been here?
I don't know if there's a one answer for why we've been so so successful here at our home record in 10 years, whatever it is. I don't much pay attention to it, but I think maybe just our overall focus and our play overall. I think that's probably the biggest reason. I don't think we've ever been known as a overly ruckus crowd. So so that's what you'd probably attribute it to.
How does it compare, like, to Florida?
Well, the crowd and the noise is much different. They're much more vocal and interactive and influencing, the game. And as far as being vocal, loud, before you're making a big play, they're loud all the time. When the opposing team's trying to work.
Is the 2000 Nebraska game about the only one you can remember where your crowd had a big effect?
I don't know. It's hard for me to remember back then what the crowd noise was like. It's not something that you kind of. I guess you do remember. I remember some other games where I couldn't talk to a coach right next to me, but that was somewhere else. But anyway, that's just something, that's, I don't remember 2000, overall. I remember, to a degree, yes, how excited everybody was and how they participated in the game. And
You can't remember any game here where you feel like the crowd really was a 12th man or whatever you want to call it?
I'm sure there has been. You guys are here at all the games. You can throw them out there.
You've told us 100 times or more that you don't really notice the crowd. You don't really notice things like that when you're on the road or here. Do you get reports from, like? Well,
I just notice a lot of times most people in here don't have to use a silent count. I mean, we go on the road ready to use silent counts and not be able to communicate. We have to do everything by signaling, and that doesn't always, that doesn't usually happen here. So.
Is there any reason why you think Oklahoma fans are quiet?
You guys, enough of this. That's you asked me a question about why we, what our record is here, and that's it. So I don't, I'm not sitting here. No other reason than I answered your question.
I'll talk about trying to cover Crabtree, and I know they have a great passing game, but his individual play, how does that make it difficult, the pressure he puts on defense?
Well, he's just a great athlete. He's a big guy. He's got speed. He's got great hands. He's competitive. He's just one of those special players that you just have to always be aware of, just because of his ability and his competitiveness.
He made skies him? Is he easy to find in the offense every
Yeah,
game?
big number 5. You can't miss him. So, but they'll move him around some. They have his standard position, but then on occasion they move him around also.
Where's Austin Box now from first day that you moved him over to middle linebacker?
Quite a bit different, definitely more comfortable, more and more confident, with the snaps he's gotten, and improved. He's made significant progress.
Is he going to start at the middle linebacker?
Yeah.
Talk about the attack defense, if you would, please.
Very, for the most part, they're base 4-3, cover 4, make you beat them. They're very sound, disciplined in how they play. Big, strong, physical up front, but disciplined in their structure. They make you, they're not much on giving you a bunch of different wrinkles. They like to play what they, much like offense. They do what they do and they do it well, and force you to execute against it. And but they do a very good job of discipline and playing fundamental good football.
Bob, is it true that they basically have just a handful of plays, maybe 8, and then they have variations off of that, or do they do a lot more than people think?
There's more than 8 plays, but again, Mike has his grouping of plays that are still his meat and potatoes that he has had forever, and from Kentucky years through here, and again, and runs them. And, he'll mix them up with formations to some degree, but the plays are still there, of what they like to do.
Well, no doubt that any extra study time helps. Two teams who know each other as well as you guys do, and the fact that you don't change much in your structure, did the extra week really figure into this thing at all?
To some degree it does, just being more familiar, but they get to be familiar too. So, but I like it. I felt it gives you a chance to really just get more and more familiar with everything that they're doing. But again, how much that does that outweigh what they how they feel? So in the end, it's it's a good thing.
What injuries did you get healed enough to go from maybe not playing to playing, and then the role also of your 2 defensive ends, 2 of your top 4 apparently not going to be playing against this offense?
Right. The only guy still is Brody Eldridge is back and practiced yesterday, so that's a positive.
What about 2 of the defensive ends being out? The impact, though, of trying to get back to the quarterback regularly?
Well, those other guys have to play more snaps, and then some other young guys, J.R. Bryant and Price Macon, got to step up and help as well. You play with what you have, and those. I do love the fact that the 2 guys that are in there, Jeremy Bill and Frank Alexander, have played really well. So we're just hopefully those guys' tank will stay full, and they can they could pick up, play a few more snaps and still get to the quarterback.
Pressuring the quarterback, not just with the push passing, but also with the splits that they're offensive line.
Well, their splits, aren't like they used to be. They don't have those gigantic splits like they used to. They'll still stretch out a little bit, but for the most part, they've brought them back in where they're fairly normal to most. So in the end, I think it more than anything, their protection and all gets down to they've got good offensive linemen that are physical guys, move well, protect well, run block well. So it's a real, very solid offensive line.
Why has he narrowed his splits, Bob? Do you know? Or, what's the philosophy behind it?
Well, you'd have to ask Mike.
Does anybody use the wide splits that he used to? Anybody that you see? Is that just sort of falling out of favor?
I guess, but in the end, you still see the same plays. So.
Let's see it.